Hi, everybody. Welcome to It's Busy. Here we go. Hi, everybody. It's Busy. Elizabeth Chance here. How are you this Tuesday? I hope you're doing well. If you're listening to my podcast, if you could rate it and follow it wherever you're listening to this, I would so greatly appreciate it. I would love to hear your reviews. I'd love to hear any thoughts you have. And you can always reach me at elizabeth@elizabethchance.com. Well, here we go, everybody. What life is just so lifey these days. I was actually just telling somebody the other day, I was like, does it seem like everything's just darker than it used to be? Am I getting old? Is it because I'm old that I'm noticing all of this darkness in the world? Or is it truly because we are living in a darker world? And I don't know what the answer is. I don't know. Is it because of social media? Is it because of everything's so against each other, right? You watch one news, you watch the other news. It was so interesting because I was listening this weekend. I was walking the dogs and I was listening to NPR. No, I said, Siri, please give me the news. And she gave me the news. And it was all about Tennessee, which is tragic. All the people that died in Tennessee, it was tragic. Just to think that nobody got out of that facility alive, which is so terrible. So they talked about that. And then they talked about an ICE facility in Chicago. Okay. I'm like listening to this. I'm like, this is not what I want to hear. So I then put it on Fox. And Fox said, well, we're so happy about what's going on in Israel, which we all are. Finally, the people have been restored and the people are going back to Palestine. Like everybody's going back to where they're delegated places and there's no more war. If it stays like this, I will be thrilled as well as I'm sure all of you will be. That was the top news story. No mention of that on NPR. There was no positive. So I'm like, wow, we're living in this dark time. And a lot of what's going on in the news makes us go, you know what? I don't want to hear it anymore. I'm just not going to listen. And I think we do that with so many things in our lives. We're like, we don't want to listen. We don't want to face it. We see something, but I don't want to see it. I want to hide. I don't want to feel that feeling. I don't want to acknowledge what's going on. I see one thing and it doesn't look good to me. So I'm just going to pretend it isn't there. And what do we do with that? Like if we're hiding all the time, how does that make us feel? It doesn't make us feel good. I know that for myself. I have truly been someone that's like an ostrich. So an ostrich takes their head and puts it in the sand. And I don't do that. Figuratively take my head and put it in the sand, but I do ignore things to the point that it becomes detrimental to me. And I become angry. I'm fearful. I'm just avoiding. And we need to validate our feelings. We can't be like, there's not a large purple elephant in this living room. We have to acknowledge there's a large purple elephant sometimes. And that's what I always say, that there's a purple elephant and we all want to ignore it. And we do that with our loved ones that have got addiction. We do that with people around us that we love, but we don't want to push them out of our lives because we're like, they're good people. I just can't acknowledge what they're doing. It's okay. It's okay. They're only doing it to them. But when it starts to affect us, then we have to do something. And it takes courage and it takes tenacity because my first inclination is like, I just going to pray it's going to get better. I want to pray it's going to get better. It's not going to stay like this forever. They're going to get better. I'm going to be okay. I'm not going to be in a place of denial and I'm going to be able to acknowledge it. But it takes a long time to get there, doesn't it? It takes so long to get to this place where you're like, I can't hide anymore because it's costing me my peace, my serenity, my happiness, my self-esteem, my ability to get out of bed every day. Is it worth that cost to you personally for you to keep your head in the sand? It's not, it might be the easier, softer way, but at the end of the day, somebody has to be the grown-up and say, you know what? I see this and we've got to tackle this either together or I'm going to extricate myself and I'm going to take care of it myself. But somebody has to give in a situation like that. And when you finally wake up after seeing this thing for so long, whatever it is that's going on in your life, if you have somebody that's in active alcoholism, if you have somebody that you love that is gambling or is making really bad choices and it's around you and you see it all the time and they say, I'm going to change. I promise I'm going to change. Don't worry about it. And you say, okay, I'm going to take your word. I'm going to believe you. You promise me you're going to change. It's not going to be like this forever. I'm going to take the steps to change. I promise you. I promise I'm not going to be like this. I swear I'm going to do it. But you sit there and you're like, they said they're going to do something and they're not doing it. I mean, I've been watching it for all the time. Like, they're not changing. They promised me they were going to change, but I keep getting the letters in the mail, or I keep getting evidence that there's a bottle over there, or that pills were picked up, or the money's gone from your bank account because they promised they weren't going to go gamble again, and they did. Or they didn't pay a bill that they promised you they were going to take care of. But they're like, no, I'm going to do it. I promise. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And you want to believe this person because you love them. You love the person so unconditionally. And sometimes you've even made a vow that said, you know what, I'm going to stick with this because I said till death do us part. But I feel like we're living in a world where a lot of things, people aren't doing what they say they're going to do. There's a lot of that. And the hiding is just not it feels like you're sitting here living in this weird time warp. You're like, wait a minute, they promised they're going to do this. And I've been, I'm going to believe them. And then you're going to get a week down the road and you're going to go, oh no. Or maybe you'll make it a month, or maybe you'll make it a year, or maybe you'll make it years. Maybe you'll make it decades going, this isn't happening. It's okay. It's okay. It's going to get better. It's going to get better. It's going to get better. And what makes you finally wake up and go, this isn't getting better? This is actually sick. I'm still in this sickness. I'm getting real mad now. I'm getting real angry because I don't want to deal with this anymore. I'm not sleeping at night. Now, the person's sleeping like a baby. They have no problem sleeping. But because you are awake, you're like, I need to sleep. I need to have peace in my heart. I have been trusting this person and the person isn't following through and they're sleeping like a baby. And I'm sitting here freaking out constantly over this thing. And who wins in that? Not you. Not the person that's identified knows what's going on, but you don't want to look at it because it's too scary. It's so scary. You sit there and you're like, if I sit here with this for the rest of my life, I've been watching, it's not getting better. It's been a decade. It's not getting better. Am I going to go down with the sinking ship? That's the biggest question. Are you going to go down with the sinking ship? Are you going to say, all right, it's kind of like Bonnie and Clyde, right? I'm sure Bonnie knew what Clyde was doing. She's like, but I'm just going to come along with you. And if I get arrested and we both die, that's fine. I'm willing to do that because I love you so much, Clyde. I'm going to do it. Or in Titanic, Rose gets the wood, but Jack didn't, right? Jack's in the water and he's dying and she has to let him go. And she stays on the wood and she blows the whistle and she gets saved and she lives. But Jack, because he went along with her, he went down. He sunk because he wanted to make something happen. And we all get to that. We're like, I'm just going to stay here and I'm going to watch what's going on around me. It's completely chaotic. 2 + 2 doesn't equal 4. They're not doing what they said they're going to do. Now, they promised you in marriage that they were going to stand by you. They were going to protect you. They were going to, they were going to be by your side in sickness and in health, for richer, for poor. You were going to be there together. But I think to be together, we need to have like a common goal. So if your goal is, I want you to do what you said you did because we've made a decision that we are going to pay this or we are going to stop doing this, And the person says, yes, I agree. We're going to do that. But then they don't keep up their side of the bargain. And you're sitting there going, okay, I'm waiting for them to keep up this side of the bargain. I mean, we made a promise. I agreed. I'm not spending money anymore. I've decided I'm not going to spend money. I don't do Amazon anymore. I took it off my phone. I'm not spending needless hours just looking and shopping online. I'm not doing any of that anymore. I've done what I've said I'm going to do, but the other person isn't doing what they said they're going to do. And you're like, why am I doing this? But I can't control them. Oh, frustration. You feel like you want to beat your head against the wall. You're like, what is going on? I made this promise and I'm keeping up my side of the bargain. Why aren't they? How can I force them to do it? What can I do? Maybe I'll I don't know. I won't make them dinner. I won't be romantic with them. I don't know. What can I do? I'll put them in the doghouse. And the doghouse doesn't work because he's not going to go to the doghouse or she's not going to go to the doghouse. They're not going to the doghouse. They don't care that you're not making dinner anymore. They're going to stop at Wawa and get a hoagie. They don't care. They just can't do it. They can't keep up their side. They can't keep their promise to you. And that's just like the worst feeling in the entire universe is when somebody just keeps this, like promise you something and then they don't fulfill the promise. It feels like somebody keeps jabbing you because wait a minute, you promised me and now you're just going to hit me in the face because you're not doing what you promised. You're not going to do what you promised. And you're like, the person tells you it's going to be okay. I got this. Don't worry. Don't you love it when somebody tells you not to worry? And you're like, don't worry. Okay. The walls are falling around around us. The roof's about to cave in, but I'm not supposed to worry. Okay. It's, okay. I'm not going to pay attention. The person's had numerous DUIs. The person's been hospitalized. And you say, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. I got this. I'm going to ignore it. It's going to go away. It's going to go away. They promised me that they promise they're going to stop. They're going to promise to stop this thing. And they don't stop. And they keep going and they keep going and they keep going. And you're like, oh my gosh, at what point do you go? I got to get off this. I got to get off this. How do I get off this? How do I get out of the insanity? The definition of insanity is doing the same things over and over and over again, expecting different results. I've been insane many times in my life. Many times. I've stuck my head in the sand many times. Even recently. And the pain got so big, took over everything. So painful, and got so angry and so disappointed and so heartbroken because I want to believe. I want to believe the person I stood in front of God with and then stood in front of my family and my friends and said, I do. I want to stay there with that person. I want to. Sickness and in health till death does us part. But at what point do you go, this large purple elephant is still sitting in this room? I know it's there. I got to acknowledge it. I got to look it square in the face and I got to say, okay, the gig is up. Can't do this anymore. Just can't do it anymore. And it takes what it takes to get there. I can't tell you that there's like this magic thing that happens where you go, you know what? I'm ready. I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I'm jumping off the insane asylum bus. I can't put my head in the sand anymore. I got to pull my head out. I got to look at everything with clear eyes. I have to really take an inventory of what's going on around me. And you do that. You take this inventory and you go, okay, this is what's going on. You might even have people say, you've got to walk away. You have to get divorced. You have to leave this person. And you're like, no, I can't. I can't do that. I can't. I promised. I'm not going to leave. I can't. They can't do life on their own. Look they can't even keep a promise to me. How am I going to let them go? But the reality is when we're adults, which most of us are, I think, listening to this podcast. I don't think there's probably many young people listening under 18. So as adults, we know what we can handle and what we can't. Honestly, truthfully, we know there's some things that we cannot change. We don't have a magic wand. We aren't Tinkerbell. We aren't Glenda the Good Witch. We can't come down and say, I'm going to change this person. Ding! Doesn't happen. So either we keep walking or we go, okay. And some people, again, say leave. And you're like, I can't leave. But one day it hits you. I don't know where you are, what's going on in your life, but it hits you. And you're like, I can't do this anymore. I'm done. I have to, I can't do this. I can't be in this insane asylum anymore. I can't look at the purple elephants. I can't keep identifying what you're doing wrong. The other person's doing wrong, taking keep grading them every day. Like they're giving you, they're not doing what they said they did. Okay. You got enough today. Or you sit there and you're kind of nice. You're like, if I'm nice, they're going to be better. They're going to change, and they still don't. And you're like, I'm done. I can't do it anymore. I've given up, pulled my head out of the sand. And it's time to look at everything. And you have to process everything. And then the tears come. Now, I don't know if you're like me, but I'm not a crier. I've never been a crier because it was always like, don't cry, keep moving. What are tears going to do? You can't, you sitting there crying isn't going to make anything better, Elizabeth. Nothing's going to get better if you cry. So you just better keep walking. And so it was like, hold it in. Hold it in. You've got this. You can do this. You don't need to cry. Well, guess what, guys? We do need to cry. Some days we just need a good cry. And for me, it's taken me I want to say in the last 5 years, I've started to cry more. Now I'm not like crying all the time. Look at me at justifying the fact that I don't cry all the time. I'm like, look at me. Hello, sorry. I cry now. And when it comes, as scary as it is, I feel it. I feel it in everything, and it becomes sometimes uncontrollable. I'm going to use something really, really sad. Like my mom died. That was really, I cried really hard for that. And I cried when my dog died. But when you cry because you've been trying to make something work that isn't working, it's like, it just springs up at different times. And we need to have those tears. We don't need to hide from them. They're kind of a gift to be able to just tear, because it's just like you're shedding a layer. Like, I think when we stay in situations which aren't good, we build walls and more walls and more walls, because we know that nobody's doing what you ask them to do. And you have no protection from this person. In fact, they're putting you in danger in many different ways. And you're like, okay, I'm putting another wall up. I'm putting another wall up. I'm putting another wall up. And then we have this wall around us that's like Fort Dix. And to break that wall, because for me, I want to be a softer person. I want to be a kinder person. I want to be, you think about Mary in the Bible. Like, I think about how selfless she was. Like, God came down and said, you're going to carry Jesus. You're going to carry my child. And she said, okay. How many of us would say, okay? How many Josephs are there? The man she was engaged to, Joseph, and she, everybody in town is like, she's pregnant. And how many guys would have just left? Said, you know what? I'm not in, I didn't sign up for this. I don't want to do this. And a lot of people told him that, but he stayed. And he stayed because she loved him, and he took care of her, and she took care of him. And in today's world, I don't feel like we have as many Josephs around. And I don't know how many Marys we have either, because we get so angry after all the walls. It just happens. The walls become anger, and we become darker, and we become a little more hard, and we become a little more defensive, and we become a little more Like, we don't want to let anybody in. We put up this facade. I got this. I don't need to cry. I got this. But, you know, when you realize you're done, the gas is gone, like in a car. The gas is done. You're done. You're done. And you get to that place where you're done and you can't change it. It's like it comes on like a tidal wave. You're like, all of a sudden, I'm done. I'm done. I'm walking away. As my father likes to say, I'm going to take my ball and go home. I'm going to take my ball and I'm going to go home and I'm going to reevaluate. And that is so hard. It's so hard. It's so hard once you say I'm done and then keep walking and just keep walking and go, okay, I'm done. And the person that you might be with might be like, wait a minute, what do you mean you're done? You've been co-signing my stuff for so long. What do you mean you're done? What do you mean? You can't be done. You're like, yeah, I'm done. I'm done. And you're going to cry some more. And you're going to cry some more. And the person's going to tell you they're sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm going to change. I'm going to change. And I'm like, I've heard that like for decades. And I don't believe it anymore. I've heard it for a year. Or I've heard it for 6 months. If you're stronger than me, you've heard it for a week. And you're like, I'm done. I'm done. Or you go on for too long and you're like, what am I going to do now? I'm old and nobody's going to want me. Who cares? The reality is that we've got to save ourselves sometimes. And we can't live in insanity all the time. We can't live in anger all the time. We can't live in a place where our heart becomes stone. Because nobody wants to have a stone heart. We want to have love. We want to have true friendship and people that are going to care about you and say, I'm going to help you on this journey. If you're willing to pick up the phone and call somebody. If you're willing to pick up the phone and call somebody and say, this is what's going on. Maybe you've been telling so many people that they don't want to talk to you anymore because they've been hearing the same story over and over again. I've had that happen to me. Like, I've heard this. What are you going to do? Are you just going to call me every day and tell me your problems? Or are you going to do something? Are you going to get into action? That action is so, the action. What is it I'm going to do? Am I going to call a therapist? Am I going to call a coach? You could call me. I'm coaching. I put some programs together and I can just show you how I've done it. But reaching out and getting some help. And again, that could be from your best friend or your neighbor or your cousin, your sister, your mom, whomever you have in your corner. You need to reach out to them and you need to lean on them and you need to say, this is what's going on in my life. Can you help me get through this? Because it's going to be hard. And I'm going to try and backtrack and I'm going to say, I can go back to that living. It's okay. Because I think going out there in the world is scarier than this. I think maybe. But it really isn't. It really isn't. I think God tells us all the time to trust him. He's walking right in front of you. And if you pray to him and then you meditate, and I don't mean sitting there going, I mean, like, just sit there wherever it is, laying in your bed, sitting in your car, going on a walk, sitting in your backyard and saying, okay, God, where do you want me to go? What do you want me to do? And sometimes you don't hear. Sometimes you do. But when you don't hear, you have to have faith, right? Faith is constant. Having faith is so constant, knowing it's all going to work out. It's like going into your house, and if you know that they've paid the electric bill, you're going to turn the lights, and the lights are going to turn on. And that's faith. Like, you know, God's there. And he's with you every second. Your guardian angels are with you every second. And you have to lean on them sometimes. And you have to trust them. Even though you can't maybe feel them or see them, you have to trust them. Because when you do, it empowers you. It gives you the strength to move forward and say, yeah, I know I could continue staying in that situation. I could continue listening to lies, listening to false promises. Or I could say, I'm going to take care of me now. It's hard. It's hard. It is hard, you guys. But as I always say, it's not as hard as pushing a boulder up a mountain and trying to find fresh water for your children. That would be hard. This is going to be uncomfortable, and you're going to have lots of feelings, and feelings aren't facts. Your life is going to look completely different next year if you get into action. I can promise you that. I know, because when you don't do anything, every year looks the same. You're still looking at the same problems year after year, because the person who says they're going to change isn't changing. So nothing changes. Because if that person isn't changing and you're not changing, there's no changes. Sorry, you are going to stay where you are. It's going to be stagnant. There might be bigger emotion sometimes and less emotion sometimes, but nothing's going to change unless somebody grows up and says, guess what? I'm taking the wheel and I'm getting out and I'm taking care of me. And it takes strength and it takes courage. But banging your head against the wall and building these walls around your heart is not the answer. I can promise you that. Life, we only live once. And all of us are going to die. And you hope that one day you will end up in heaven. And tell God you've done your very best. Your ultimate best for him. Because guess what? He loves you no matter what. And sometimes it takes the strength to love ourselves. That's enough out of me. I want to say thank you, you guys. I don't know if any of you are on social media. If you are, I want to thank you personally. I had 100,000 downloads. I just got the notification. I've had 100,000 downloads of my podcast, and that is because of you. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for listening to me. It's just, it's, you have no idea. It is one of my saving graces is knowing I have this busy family out there in the world that listens to me, and that you guys take time out of your life to listen to me. And I want you to know you are not alone. No matter what your head may tell you, or somebody in your house might tell you, you aren't alone. That's a lie. That's the biggest lie of all. God is with you. And I'm here, even though I'm a stranger, maybe to you. You're not a stranger to me. And I know that you will have peace again. I just want to tell you that. If you're going through a hard time, you will not be going through this forever if you make a change. We got this, you guys. We got this. If we've got faith, we've got love, we've got God. Again, reach out to me with any questions, comments. If you make comments to me, by the way, on social media, I'm just going to tell you, I'm not great with social media all the time. I don't look at it because I don't always find it positive. I drop and run. I send you guys reels so you know that my podcast is dropped, but I don't hang out there. So if I don't respond to you and you want to hear from me, email me, elizabeth@elizabethchance.com. And I will get back to you. I promise you, email me and I will get back to you as soon as possible. I check my emails all the time, except for Sundays. You guys, Sunday is my solace day. It's my Sabbath. I don't use any phones, computers on Sundays. It's just my day. It's giving me a gift of quiet time. So wherever you're listening to this, if you could subscribe, press like, leave me a little review. Again, that would warm my heart more than you would ever believe. And I'll be back with my monthly guest, Becky, on Thursday. So tune in then. And again, remember, you are not alone. It's busy. Thanks for listening, you guys. Take care. And you guys will be listening to me again on Thursday. Tune in. Take care, everybody. Bye.